And Azir did a better job that game of not playing too aggressive early. I'm not going to say he didn't play too aggressive at points, but he never played too aggressive at points where he would be punished for it. Both teams have signaled they are ready to get started on pick ban here. Looks like somebody on the CB Rush side has figured out the advanced settings on draft law and managed to go ahead and disable 2 bans for ZMG, making things a little bit easier as we see the instant triple ban of Darius, Azir, and Lucian.
Oh.
The Vel'Koz does continue to be banned. I guess ZMG Legends is very scared of that Vel'Koz, and Zeri is the instant first pickup here. How do you feel about that rapid-fire trio of bans from CB Rush?
And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't ban the Nocturne. I felt like Nocturne had a huge impact last game.
Sivir Karma is picked up by ZMG. Guess they were more comfortable with skips on the Karma than they were. What did he play game 1?
Wait, what?
Seraphine is what he played game 1.
Seraphine.
More comfortable with his play on the Karma than the Seraphine, I suppose.
I mean, he was outputting a lot of damage on the Seraphine. But maybe he's just trying to go for the little extra shield and movement speed. Oh, Zeri, Yumi, interesting.
That is a late game powerhouse lane if I've ever seen one.
I wonder if they're going to play something like Hecarim or something in the jungle to really round out a Yumi team comp.
No, we see the J4 again. Cade did a excellent job piloting the J4 in game 1. Was a little bit more suspect on the Kindred game 2, so perhaps going back to something he's a bit more comfortable on. We do see the Victor again from Azir here. Not wanting to take that Swain again. Felt like he did a much better job on the Victor, I suppose, and certainly showed in final scores. What do you expect to see from bans for both teams here in the second round, with top laner, mid laner left for CB Rush and jungler and top laner left for...
I was gonna say ZMG was gonna ban top laners and what's it called? CB Rush was gonna ban junglers.
We do see the Renekton ban coming out. And there's the Nocturne that you were wondering about why it was missing from round 1. Here's where it was hiding.
There you go. There's what I expected.
Yep. Looks like the Kindred is the second ban here. Suppose they weren't particularly scared of the Diana from game 1. They did hover that ban, but chose against it. If their plan was to ban 2 junglers in the second round, are you at all surprised that they didn't take away the Victor from Azir as opposed to the Darius or the Lucian?
Not entirely sure, because especially since, sorry, I'm reading chat. Yes, it's currently 1-1. Where was I? Oh yeah, it's because like I mean Azir could have picked the Swain or etc. Like so I'm not too surprised by them not banning out Azir, mainly because or picking away the Victor. I don't know if their mid laner even plays Victor. I assume he does. Most mid laners do play Victor time to time. But it looks like they do have the Galio to counter Victor.
And the Gwen in the top lane to face this Camille.
Looks like they will leave counter pick to the jungle again. And they will pick a Mumu.
Alright. We did see Amumu as a support in game 2 from the side of CB Rush. Now we're seeing it as a jungler coming out of ZMG for game 3. This will be
Yeah, I kind of
interesting.
like it because I mean it just offers a lot more CC, and like each lane has damage. You know what I mean? It isn't like top lane's on like tank duty this time, where you would just have like 2 wet noodle fights. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so like it makes sense to go like a Mumu or some form of facilitator for the lanes.
Well, with these team comps, the question almost seems which team will dive better in these fights. Will J4 and Gwen and Galio be able to get into the backline of the Victor and Sivir? Or will Camille and Amumu be able to take out the Zeri before she can start putting out damage? That will be the question in these fights.
I will say though, Gwen's Gwen, I feel like is a better scaler than the Renekton pick previously. So I do think that both teams do have pretty decent scaling. It isn't like if we don't win by 30, we just kind of lose.
Yeah, not as aggressive a team comp as last game by any stretch of the imagination. And Pip did play the Gwen adequately game 1. Wasn't really the star of the show, was kind of along for the ride, but didn't int by any stretch of the imagination, so has shown that he can pilot the Gwen well. It will be interesting to see how he does against the more aggressive Camille versus the defensive scaling Ornn. Any other thoughts as we wait for these teams to get on the Rift?
Come back down to the early game and which jungler makes a bigger impact. Would it be is it going to be J4 or Mumu? Because I mean, both have pretty lock on CC abilities. Um, and I expect CB Rush to focus the mid bot while ZMG focus top and mid.
Well, we will have to keep an eye out for both of these junglers as we head into Game 3. With that being said, though, we will step aside for just a couple of moments here as these teams load onto the Rift in the spirit of competitive integrity. When we come back, Game 3, the final match to decide this head-to-head contest between the two leaders of the Void Division for APL. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rift for Game 3 of this match to decide the leader of the Void Division of APL here in Week 5. We have CB Rush on the blue side and ZMG Legends on the red. Final game here. What are we going to see?
I think it's kind of important to note that both ADCs do have cleanse. It's not surprising because I think both kind of want to be able to get out if they need to. And it does seem that Camille this game did decide to go the teleport ignite to match the Gwen.
Did go that last game as well. Gosh, what I
Like
wouldn't
pretty
give for a
standard.
ping of 16.
Wait, that ping is 19 MS? Wait a minute.
I guess they must be living right by Chicago then. We do
See,
see...
Teegardin, you have no excuse not to be able to climb with that kind of ping.
Yeah, his excuse is his micro.
Hey, that's actually kind of mean. Let's not do that.
Jokes aside, Teegardin is a great player. Just gotta get in the sass. That being said, we do see the cold start from Glacial here, as opposed to any of the Doran's items. Really in it for the long haul.
Looks like they're looking to invade this Amumu, which is not entirely surprising considering Amumu seems to be kind of slow with his clear.
And J4 is going red to red here, so will likely be able to get the 3 buff as Amumu will not be able to cross the map diagonally here.
Yeah, and it'd be really odd for Amumu to go to like J4's blue buff. That would be kind of not very feasible, to be honest.
No. Glacial taking a good bit of damage from Teegardin here. The Bop and Block shield does help a fair bit, but still a lot of damage coming out of that Sivir early. And yes, we do see the 3 buff is being completed by Cade here. Is a bit behind in terms of individual camps taken, but with the lead from that big buff, might be able to make his presence known on the map. Vision Plant does not see the Amumu on the top side here, though. So it looks like we will have an unexpected 2v2 for Cade here.
I think it's who's ever jungle shows up first is who kind of loses here.
Rutledge gets stunned up. Donut taking a lot of damage from Pip, rather, as the junglers are fighting down further. Cade is losing this fight, though. Cade down to about 200 health here. The Conqueror is procced. First Blood goes over to the Gwen here, as now the flash forward from Rutledge will catch Reality. The fail flash over the wall, and Reality falls as well. That's 2 kills to 1 here, and First Blood going over to CB Rush. Unfortunate for Reality not being able to get over that wall. But a surprising amount of dueling power, able to fight Cade 1v1 on this early J4.
I think Reality even tries to flash there. I think he was dead either way, even if he did make the flash. Because where does he go afterwards?
Yeah, I
There's
do
2
think he
people.
dies, but he would have bought a lot of time. Oh no, Azir gets ganked here. The taunt lands, the flag and drag lands, and Azir just has to consign himself to his death. Reality has wandered through mid lane, but can't fight into the Galio and Cade there.
I
Azir
think
did.
it's also important to note that with J4 ganks, I feel like that he typically doesn't go straight from like the river bush, but rather where he did that time, where it's kind of round. I don't know what you would call that area.
He comes through the chicken pass.
Yeah,
You
makes
say
sense.
that, but we do see Azir has warded the river bush instead. Teegardin getting engaged on here. The J4 has come down here. Teegardin does get exhausted, but Fleet of Foot is helping him to kite away here. Will there be enough speed from blue team to catch up to Teegardin? Flag and Drag comes down, forces the flash out of Teegardin, but not quite enough damage, and Teegardin will manage to escape. Feels like Pip is winning these trades pretty hard into Donut, but still down in CS just a touch. Will be about even once he picks up these last 3 caster minions. As Azir gets engaged upon once again, the taunt coming out, but Rutledge has to be a little bit careful as Reality is about to join this fight. J4 is on the way, but it looks like Reality will not chase any further.
That was kind of the one strength with the Nocturne was the fact that it's a little bit less unknown. You know, you hit 6 and then you just kind of everything goes dark and then you're there. But with the Mumu, it's a lot more straightforward of your ganking path, I think.
Yeah, not a lot of unpredictability with a Mumu. As Azir gets engaged upon once again, the taunt lands. Rutledge doing a good job of controlling this lane. As Azir is forced to play very passive here.
Especially since the Galio was the one who got a double kill early on. I didn't even. Well, I guess he got the one kill bot in the mid lane, and then when he roamed upwards to the
Yes.
Mumu.
And Azir is running out of mana here, does not have the TP, so he's got to be a little bit careful of being pushed in hard here.
I don't think he stays. I think he just leaves here.
Azir does pop the Chaos Storm, trying to get some zoning here onto Rutledge. Rutledge is still about half health, and Azir has no mana at this point. Has to be very careful, backing up way back between his turrets to recall here. I think that was very greedy by Azir to pop the Chaos Storm. If J4 had been in the area, he would have been dead there.
I mean, he also just doesn't get a kill there, right? Like, yeah, I feel like it'd be better just to save the Chaos Storm for like a Drake play or something, where you're more guaranteed to do more damage.
Yeah, there's no world where he gets anything other than the wave pushed out from that Chaos Storm. And Gwen is really starting to hard win the matchup in the top side, able to push Donut all the way out of the lane without even having to use his ultimate. Looks like ZMG finally starting this first Drake. About 8 minutes here. CB Rush does have vision advantage. Azir has to be careful here as the Cataclysm comes out. The Gallia ult coming out as well. Reality gets knocked up,
Chaos
but the
Storm right here would be
ult.
great.
Chaos Storm would be great here, but Rutledge may be the sacrifice here. Running out of health, Cade is nowhere near healthy enough to continue this fight. Rutledge trying his best to put enough damage down onto Azir as Cade goes back in. Does not have quite enough, but Glacial on the other side of the fight is apparently winning the 2v2 against the bot lane. Papa Skips forced to run away as Teegardin has already died, but now Glacial is in a heap of trouble. Will fall, and Insanity will be soon to follow. The Yuumi does not have anything on his own. That's going to be a 4 for 1 here, and a Drake. And a disjointed fight from CB Rush, which was very much taken advantage of. There were 2 fights
happening at once, but I think honestly, if Ziri had grouped with the Galio J4 maybe earlier instead of doing their 2v2 on the side, they may have had better success. But I don't really know. I don't really know exactly when they got there. I was just like, oh.
In the same vein, if the J4 hadn't gotten so low from diving so deep onto the Victor and Amumu, might have been able to re-engage and help CB Rutledge clean up the Amumu early. The ultimate from the Yuumi comes out here, does not root either of them, but Papa Skips forced to flash away. The exhaust going out onto Teegardin may be enough. Yes, Glacial is able to secure the kill onto Skips as Teegardin is unable to respond here.
I think there's a world where Karma goes back in there. I think when she was out, she should have just left. Or at least waited until she gained some HP back. Because that was a very greedy play, especially with a Yuumi on the Ziri.
Agreed. Rift Herald is available here for Cade. Looks like he's going to go ahead and pop this in the top lane. Both junglers are up here, though, so this may be a serious fight. Looks like the charge will get off. Yes, 2 plates.
And knowing that J4 was topside, Victor needs to be playing safe right here.
But he's not. He's pushed up a little bit, and he's standing on that same side of the jungle as the J4 goes over the wall. The taunt lands, and Azir is taking a bunch of damage trapped in this Cataclysm. The Chaos Storm will not be quite enough. Cade is able to survive. And a well-executed gank once again from Cade onto Azir. second or third time that gank has worked here in this third game.
I don't know how well they're tracking the enemy jungle, but I think there, after seeing J4 pop the Herald top, it makes sense that he would walk down towards mid. So I feel like personally, Azir should have either had a word behind him where he does currently, or he should have backed up.
Absolutely, that was very questionable positioning there from Azir, not respecting the J4 dive that had already happened to him before.
Being said, both mid laners are about even in item, so that's kind of good.
We do see once again a small but not insignificant CS lead being opened up for Pip in the top lane. Looks like Reality is going to try for a cheeky lane gank here, but does get spotted out on a ward in that first bush. So CB Rush knows that this is coming and will play safe.
Galio's heading down.
Galio
Probably
is
just gonna
coming
clear this
down.
ward and then just walk back up. And Victor needs to be a little safe.
Yep. With Amumu having back, there's no way that ZMG can take that engage. And instead, it looks like both bot laners will go ahead and reset here for ZMG.
It does appear that there's gonna be some action on this top lane. And Mimu trying to probably get this Camille ahead again.
Trying to get her ahead, but not having a great time of it as Donut is running out of health very quickly here. The Ignite is ticking down, but not enough reach on the ultimate from the Gwen. Now taking a lot of damage from this Amumu. The Conqueror is doing a lot of work here as Reality will go onto a killing spree, but Cade going in deep forces the flash out of his ear as the ultimate from CB Rutledge comes in. But now Skips might be the sacrifice as the taunt coming down. The knockup does not quite land because of the wall, but with flashes forward from both mid and jungle, the kill will be secured. So Rutledge and Cade do manage to get that. Rutledge going back in here onto Reality. The Yuumi has joined the fight, but Cade is very low as well. They can't take this fight here.
I think that was great pathing from the Karma there. That was a little risky.
That was
Because the Victor kind of was able to get out, but by flashing out of the Galio ult, I think he just disengaged there and regroup.
absolutely. Unfortunately for CB Rush, the failed E just barely clipping the wall, meaning that the knockup did not connect, does take both Cade's flash and Rutledge's flash to rectify, which is not what they wanted to trade there for the kill onto the Karma.
Then honestly, Karma worth. They got 2 flashes. It's
Yeah, if you're a support and you get 2 flashes from the mid and jungler, it's always worth. Doesn't matter how much you die. That being said, it looks like both teams have a bit of vision control around this Drake. CB Rush is moving in with 4 members to try and clear it out. But
both top laners do have TP.
yeah. So we might see some TPs in, unless Donut takes a couple more trades like that, in which case he won't have enough health to TP in. Looks like ZMG is backing off here. They are grouped as 4, but they do have to be a little bit careful. No Galio ult to speak of, but does have the E taunt available as both top laners TPing. Reality trying to find a good TP, but will not find it as the ultimate from J4 locks up Skips and Azir. No follow-up though. The Camille will fall here as Pip is trying to zone. Reality with the Zanyas will stay alive for just a bit more as the taunt only lands onto Skips. Skips gets knocked up. Skips will fall as Glacial flashing forward aggressively trying to get more kills here, but running out of health. Teegardin doing a lot of damage even with the Yuumi, and Yuumi will not be enough. Zeri will fall, Yuumi will fall as well, and that's going to be a 5-for-2 ace here in favor of ZMG. And assuming Reality doesn't die to this Drake, it's going to be a Drake as well.
Be a Drake either way, but.
Well, I mean, Azir wasn't much healthier than the Amumu, so.
That'd be kind of awkward, just a double execute by a dragon casually.
Yeah, accidentally give over 2 more kills worth of gold to CB Rush.
Jeez. But it didn't happen, so it's fine. Looks like Teegardin is securing some more CS and has kind of built a nice little 10 CS lead over the Zeri, which should start a little evening out now that Zeri hit the wave, but you know, advantages. Ooh, Camille doing some little poke damage on the Gwen. Oh, there's a J4. That's a
There
J4.
is a J4 coming, but I do believe Hookshot is still available, so Camille doesn't have to be too concerned.
I guess they sent the Karma up to help try to set up for this Rift Herald that's spawning.
Does seem to be the case here.
Yuumi is
Yuumi,
slowly walking.
yeah, slowly getting up there. Still haven't had any turrets fall. The top outer for red team and the bottom outer for blue team are both quite low, so both could fall to this second Rift Herald. And it
It is
looks like
important to
ZMG
note.
does have
Oops. Sorry.
control here.
It does seem that Galio has opted to go the Merc Shrouds while Victor went the Sork Boots. And Victor also has a large rod sitting.
J4 looking to go in, has the Yuumi on top of him. The Yuumi ult is popped, the Cataclysm is popped as well. Blue team steals the Rift Herald here. Will it get picked up though? Rutledge trying his best to pick it up. Will he grab it? Yes, he does. However, the cost is enormous. Pip gets the shutdown onto the Amumu, but 3 kills go over to ZMG here. Was the shutdown and the Rift Herald worth it is the question here. And I don't know that the answer is yes, unless they can get first turret off of it. And with how far back
Gary's
Azir...
been kind of. Sever's kind of beating down on that turret in the bot lane.
Yeah, that bot
Found
turret
that.
is getting pretty low. However, there's not much of a wave to speak of, so Zeri might be able to continue to hold this.
I did find out the other day, or I not really find out, but it came to my attention that when you the ricochet on Sever does actually hit turrets. It bounces off the turrets. I didn't realize that until I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Sivir has been out since Alpha, and you didn't know that it bounced off turrets?
I don't know. I only play her on ARAM.
Yes, but you're a support main. You should have seen a Sivir before. Glacial and Insanity are going in here. The Sivir ult is popped to try and disengage. The J4 will just be enough to convince Sivir and Papa Skips to stay back here, trying to keep that turret alive long enough for Galio to be able to take the first turret in topside. Not choosing to pop that Rift Herald. Will the minions be enough? Looks like the answer is no here. Looks like ZMG wants to go in on this bot side. However, Cade flashing forward with the flag and drag is enough to take out Papa Skips. Now the TP in from the Victor. Gwen will be here to match. The immediate exhaust onto Azir as soon as he arrives, and Pip is doing a great job of zoning away Azir and Reality, but Reality goes in, trying to land the Amumu ultimate, does land it onto 2, however the instant cleanse from Glacial will keep him alive. Azir trying his best to track down some kills here. Reality will continue to tank this turret, but Azir is down to about half health. He's got to be careful for a dive here. The stun onto Cade. Will it be enough? No, the flag and drag gets him out, and the Yuumi healing will be enough to keep him alive. However, the first turret does fall there in favor of ZMG, and it looks like red team will have priority over this Drake for now.
It looks
Look,
CS up top has evened out a little bit though.
yeah, and it looks like Rutledge is not really able to match Donut at the moment. The Camille does quite a bit of damage with the second cast of that Precision Protocol, that Q. So can cut through the Galio if he's not careful.
I feel like Donut's been performing a lot better on his bruiser picks rather than on the Orin tank duty, to be honest.
Yeah, did not do a great job on the Ornn. Reality is spotted out with the pink ward there. Looks like Pip is doing a pretty good job of zoning away the Victor at the moment, though. The charge will take out the turret in the top side from that Rift Herald. So a little bit of pressure being put up across the map as CB Rush is trying to get this Baron, or this Drake, rather. Not Baron. Baron's on the other side of the map. Reality, though, is looking for a Curse of the Sad Mummy, looking to get that ultimate off. Cade is in the area, will try and get the steal here. The knock up onto Azir. The Galio ult coming in, knocks up 3 members as Teegardin is being fought by Cade on the backside. The shutdown of the Gwen will be problematic for CB Rush, but 2 kills from the Zeri here. Flashing forward, gets a 3rd kill here. Well, 2 kills on Glacial, 1 kill on Rutledge. And that is a 3 for 2 in favor of CB Rush and a Drake here, keeping CB Rush away from the Drake Soul Timer. And in terms of champs that you would want a Drake or a Cloud Soul on, CB Rush has a pretty good team for it with the Gwen and the Galio and the Zeri.
It shows. I think Zeri is gonna have to start getting focused in these team fights. She's kind of becoming big.
Yeah, went from 4-2 to 6-2 there, and now has a 1,000 gold lead. Not the biggest, but will manifest itself in another component here when she backs.
Will look like J4 did pick up his blue buff. Well, I think Mumu is giving the blue buff over to Victor.
Galio doesn't have quite as much need of the blue buff as Victor will. So I think
Obviously,
that's...
give it to the Yumi. Yumi blue buff is great. Let me tell you.
I mean, that is true. That means a lot more healing in fights as she's able to spam that E a little bit more. Teegardin and Skips have to be a little bit careful here as the Galio is missing and was last seen on the top side of the map. Looks like they will play very safely here. And that allows CB Rush to get priority over the Scuttle Crab, giving them Baron priority as well.
I don't know if you want to take that bandage toss, to be honest.
I don't think so, as Glacial and Insanity are the first to match here. Reality down to about 2/3 health. Skips and Teegardin do finally come over to match, but a lot of damage out onto the Amumu here.
Mumu was able to steal the birds, and they were able to get that first tier turret mid lane.
We'll get them a little bit more pressure into the jungle of CB Rush here. Assuming Skips can be babysat long enough to get some good vision down. Donut is starting to become problematic on this Camille. Building the Hex Drinker means that he's got a lot of defensive stats against either Galio or Gwen here, so can push with impunity. Once again, ZMG has to be a little careful pushing up this mid lane with the J4 sitting here in the river. Looks like it will be spotted out because of the Yuumi traveling over the wall, though. So they know exactly where this J4 is. The flash over the wall from Reality. The cleanse will not be quite enough. Glacial forced to use that E to get over the wall. However, the flash and the ultimate burned by Reality for the cleanse of Glacial is a trade in CB Rush's favor here. How does ZMG keep from bleeding too badly while they're playing this 4-1 against CB Rush's 1-3-1?
The 4-1 is good because I think the Camille is able to fight this Gwen. I know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe.
Ooh, perhaps not, as Donut is running out of health very quickly here and will fall. The solo kill going over to Pip. I thought that was just going to be a trade. I didn't expect Pip to delete the Camille like that. However, does get the kill, does get the turret as well, and that puts a lot of pressure on this map, forces the Amumu over to the bot side of the map, and now blue team has uninterrupted priority over this Baron pit.
I'm kind of, I guess they already did back. I was like, I'm kind of surprised they didn't just immediately go do the Baron when they saw a Moo bot.
Would have
I
been
guess they are
a little aggressive with the Victor and the Sivir both still on the map. Drake is coming up in 30 seconds here. CB Rush still doesn't want to let Soul Point go over to ZMG Legends. However, Reality, with the Shirelia's Reverie, will dash in. Rutledge is forced to use the Zhonya's defensively to avoid the chains. Will not matter, though, as he disappears. Cade, with the stopwatch, will buy a little bit of time, allow the Yuumi to get off. However, still dies, and that is a 2-for-0 in favor of ZMG right before this Drake comes up. So that will be Drake, and that will be Soul Point at 31.5 minutes here for ZMG. Felt like ZMG maybe went a little bit too hard in that fight early, but they managed to keep chasing it and finish it out. Looks like ZMG might want to start Baron here. No, they do back off with a Mumu on the wrong side of the map. Probably the correct decision here.
It looks like Camille will now be facing the Galio and the split push.
Not sure how I feel about that lane assignment from CB Rush. I think they've already seen that the Gwen can match the Camille. I think the better option there is to send the Camille, or the Gwen to match. Teegardin gets engaged on here. The Flag and Drag does connect down to about half health, but now Cade has to be a little bit careful. Forced to pop the Yuumi Shirelias to survive. Also down to about half health. So a trade of
Oh,
Shirelias, a trade of half healths will be everything for both teams
oh, I
there.
thought it was several.
No, it was just Shirelias.
Just sure.
Pip and Cade are sitting on a ward here. Have to be a little bit careful as there are 4 members of ZMG around. However, Teegardin forced to immediately flash away from the Cataclysm and the Galio ult.
I mean, still 2 ultis for a flash, which isn't too bad considering CV kind of really heavily relies on the J4 ult and Galio ult combo to pick apart these team fights.
Yeah, not bad at all, especially with Baron up right now. ZMG has a small window here where they can turn and try and burn this Baron, while CB Rush cannot respond. Looks like that's exactly what they're going to try and do. It does get spotted out by the Scryer's Bloom here, but with J4 being the only member who is right there, this Baron is burning down so quickly, and it looks like it might fall before CB Rush can respond. It does fall. Will CB Rush be able to start a fight afterwards? No. The empowered Karma Shield will get the entirety of ZMG out, and that will be a unpunished Baron there for ZMG. Taking advantage of this Baron, ZMG is going to try and push out this mid lane. Wave clear on both sides is pretty powerful. Looks like they will not be able to take that turret on this wave, so they will just walk in the next one. Amumu looking for the flank here as the Shirelias is popped once again. The chains follow Cade all the way deep, but the Amumu ult hits no one, and now Captain Donut has to be very careful. Captain Donut running out of health very quickly as Pip has been zoning the entirety of ZMG here. Now forced to pop the Zonias, and he will die eventually as soon as that Zonias falls. However, that is a 1-for-1 there. Captain Donut and Pip both falling. Looks like Rutledge is the member left in charge of clearing these waves, while Glacial goes for a slight reset here. Is up to 3.5 items.
2v2 split, like 2 top 2 bot question mark. Or are they just exiting? I think they're just
It
exiting.
looks
Never
like
mind.
Teegardin and Skips are just backing out. Reality and Azir will get this outer turret here on the top side. Have to be a little bit careful as both the J4 and the Galio are coming up this way, though. Not a lot of priority being put onto this Drake, which will be spawning in about 40 seconds here. This will be Cloud Soul for ZMG if they secure it.
I honestly think if ZMG gets Cloud Soul here, I think they're still able to just kind of end, right? Like,
Pip has to be a little bit careful, taking a lot of damage from the Sivir. Forced to pop the Shirelias by the Yuumi to get away. Yuumi ult is popped as well defensively. The root onto Captain Donut will be enough to keep Pip alive. Not safe, but alive.
I mean that also means that they don't have like a J4 Yumi combo.
They don't, however, they still have the J4 Galio combo. Galio is in range. Looks like ZMG is going to try and pull out this Drake. Drake is going down very quickly and will fall here. Amumu flashing forward only gets the ult onto one. Galio, though, only gets the knock up onto two as Donut is zoning away, rather, the Zeri. Reality does a good job of forcing Pip and Rutledge to back out as Camille cleans up the second kill onto the Yuumi. Skip's now running out of health, but Donut has rejoined this fight. Pip will fall. Rutledge will be soon after, and that is a clean 5-for-0 ace. And likely the end of the game here, with 20-odd second death timers and a wave here. Teegardin and Reality should be able to do some serious damage to this base, especially now that Azir and Skips have joined. The inhibitor will fall, and it looks like they will continue pushing in. Now, 10 seconds to the first members of CB Rush will not be enough, it looks like, as the first turret falls, the second turret falls. Now members are respawning, but it will not be enough. J4 trying his best, will not manage it. The Nexus explodes, and ZMG manages to take this series and the match win against CB Rush. A bit of a surprise win for ZMG. I had somewhat written them off after game one. Game one seemed to be pretty open and shut case, but managing to turn it around in games 2 and 3 kind of turned into a team after game 1. Almost seemed like these guys had not played together before, which I guess is the downside of having an E-sub.
It seemed that after game one, they just started, like you said, they started playing as a team and were able to get the objectives and do the skirmishes in the jungle a lot cleaner.
Now, the question does become, can ZMG continue to turn this into movement forward in APL play as a whole? Because this is now the third week in a row with a different roster. Will they be able to settle on a roster and perform in the future?
Hello.
Hello. It looks like we'll get an interview with Teegardin, is what it seems.
Alrighty, that was a bit of a surprise. Welcome to the desk, Teegardin.
What up?
Alright. How did that series go for y'all mentally? How were
Um,
y'all after game one? How were y'all feeling moving into the last couple of games? And how did y'all stay afloat after
um,
such a rough opening salvo there?
I'm so I mean, during and after game one, I think our mental was pretty low, like pretty really bad, honestly. So it was kind of similar to what last week was. So I think most of us thought that same thing was going to happen. 0-2. I kind of even felt it a little bit, to be honest. But with game two, obviously it's a fresh start, so we all play the game out. So it really just was as soon as we got some good picks and we got a lead in mid lane and we didn't just throw. We basically threw the game one. It felt like we just fought early when we didn't need to. We had Sivir, which was me scaling in game one, so I think we kind of figured out after game 2 when we're winning some fights and we're actually playing well as a team, we got more confidence, and I think game 3 was just, a toss up after that point. Like we have good momentum and we know we need to play. We just need to play our play style.
Were you kind of surprised they allowed you to get Zeri in game 2?
No, not really. I think there's really good picks out in AD carry. Like I can't. What did they pick game 2?
They picked Callista.
Kalista. I mean, that was an interesting pick, the Callista, but it worked in bot lane in most cases. Like you saw them 2v2, either kill Karma or kill one or both of us. But for the most part, it was, it wasn't terrible. But yeah, as far as getting Zeri, I don't think it's. I mean, Zeri's just a good pick overall, and I think maybe they had set draft plans. I'm not really sure yet, but I mean, if they give me Zeri, I'll play it. But I think Sivir right now is in a really, really good spot just with the changes that she's got. So I think Sivir plays into Zeri pretty evenly, I guess. So it's a good like side matchup that you can pick with it or against it rather.
Y'all seemed like a completely different team between game 1 and game 2. It seemed like y'all were actually playing as a team in the last couple of games. Were you able to see that in the actual comms? Did you feel that there was a real difference in how y'all were playing, or did
Yeah.
y'all feel like you were playing the same all through?
Yeah, I think honestly having Donut in the top lane, not picking Ornn, I mean, I think that was a huge shift because you can just tell he could actually, he can perform on a champion like Camille, and we don't have to put him on, tank duty as much, which obviously he made some good plays in game 2 where he did some flanks and we cleaned up fights. Same thing with game 3. But yeah, as soon as we win like a fight or two, it's kind of one of those things where like, yeah, we can hang with CB Rush because they always say like, they always say CB Rush is a really good team in the league, which they are. Yeah, they're kind of on a downslope, I'd say right now, but they're still a really good team. But once I think we win a fight or two against them, we have the confidence to say, yeah, we're actually just as good as them. So it's just a confidence thing going into it that we just need to, say, yeah, we can beat these teams no matter what their reputation is within the league.
Um, reality is typically like a support player who got moved to the jungle this week. Do you feel like were you guys worried at all in the picks and bans about him trying to get or them trying to like ban out reality, or were you
No,
pretty confident?
no, reality should stay in the jungle, honestly. I even told him that before I got dragged in here. I'm like, honestly, his jungle played really well. Papa played well as support when just kind of coming in and playing. I just think everyone played well after game 1, especially considering how game 1 went. But I was pretty confident with how I played in bot lane, even after game 1, where I thought if I get a chance to get a small lead or get a chance to kind of, command the fight a little bit, I would make a big impact, and I think I did an okay job with that.
This has been your third week with a different roster. Has that affected y'all? Or do you think y'all are about to hit a stable point where you can start bringing the same roster back again week after week?
Yeah, I think this week is definitely a turning point. I think we've figured out because the last couple of weeks has just been kind of feeling out. Okay, we had roster changes. Who's going to go where. Obviously, this week worked, so I would hope and assume that kind of the same roster would kind of go into next week and see how it goes. But yeah, it's just honestly right now it's just building on what we've done this week, and that involves scrimming, playing Clash this weekend, constantly improving champion pools, and constantly learning what's good, and especially with the new patch coming out. But yeah, it's just honestly improving from this week, and yeah, I hope this roster stays because yeah, the last couple of weeks have been pretty rough overall, but that's just the ebbs and flow of playing with the team.
Excited to see how you guys do next week, and see if we can keep up the momentum and get those wins.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll do just as good next week, if not better. I have no doubt about that, and hopefully we come out with a 2-0 next week.
Well,
Any
thank you.
final questions in chat before we let Teegardin leave?
We'll give Twitch chat just a moment. I think they're a few seconds behind us here.
Chat, woo!
Nothing from chat?
Seen anything new?
It's
All right.
fine.
Alrighty.
The games took a long time. I mean, the game one started at 20 minutes after.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alrighty.
it just randomly kicked us from the lobby. It was just like, wait a minute, who kicked us? Wait.
Yeah, that was interesting too. Good starts. Good starts.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Teegardin. We appreciate you joining us. Congratulations to you and the entirety of Legends for impressive win in that match. I think we are going to call it for the evening here. We will be back tomorrow with ZMG Luna in AG